Hey guys, Jason here with Bounce House Billionaire. I'm going to go over the second part of the discovery process from the prior video. This is what you'll do, or your driver will do. If you have a driver, I would have them do this on the 24 to 48 hours prior to the delivery. So if it's during the week on a Wednesday delivery, maybe Tuesday would be your best bet. If it's Saturday delivery, of course, Friday. So the thing is reiterating kind of what you went over in your first discovery process, because it could have been a month ago. You could have talked to the dad and now you're talking to the mom, or vice versa, or the cousin could have booked it, and you got to make sure now that the homeowner, whoever that is, understands what needs to happen for you to get in, get out, collect the money, and do a great job, get good reviews, and move forward. So payment is always one thing, whether they paid online or they're paying cash on delivery. I would run over that to be sure everyone's on the same page. Again, I would go over the electric. You need to be a certain amount of foot away from the electric outlet. The water hose, if it's a water unit, it's a big deal. Do you guys carry water hoses? Do they have a water hose? Let's go ahead and get that out of the way. Irrigation when you set up. Are you going to hit any pipes, any plumbing? Let them know you're not responsible for that. It needs to be flagged if they're worried about it. If they're not worried about it, you're not responsible if a pipe were to get hit or whatnot. And have a rough idea. So what I do is give them, so let's say their party's going to start at 9 and they need to be my first delivery. And I need to get there at 6:30 or 7. Ms. Jones, I know that's really early, but you're an early start, and rather than be late or put you in a spot, again, I'm making this phone call. I'm not doing this in email back and forth 1,000 times. I want them to know exactly where I stand. You're going to have to be my first delivery. Long story short, I give an hour and a half window in the front. So if you got 2 bookings at 9, 5 bookings at noon, 3 bookings at 2, you shuffle them down to an hour and a half windows. So if they're starting at noon, I always tell them, they can expect us between 10:30 and noon, to get them up and running by their start time. So that's one of the things that if you have drivers, they need to do, because that contact between driver and, if I'm a driver, I want to know what I'm up against, because I got to go out and deliver the thing. So I want to talk to the customer, know what I'm up against, go over the electric, the hose, the setup. Is it grass? Is it concrete? Is it half pavers? Am I going into a gym? Is it a public area, right, where there is no power? Whoever booked it, it wasn't put on there. We catch problems before they arise. And it's the key to success. It's the key to efficiency, is knowing exactly what you're up against before it happens. Visualization, it works, right? So I would call them the day before, run over everything one more time, make sure we're on the same page. And then I tell them at the end of that, Miss Jones, Miss Johnson, we're gonna give you a call when we're 30 minutes out the next day. That way they know they need to be there, right? How many times have you showed up, they're at Publix, they're at, husband don't know where the unit should go, and she's down the street at Mary's house getting decorations or whatever it may be, or they're just not there, right? So you're there and you're trying to call them, nobody's answering. You leave because you have other deliveries. They go on Facebook and blast you because you didn't show up for their party, right? So these are the things I try and stop from happening before they ever happen. I'm stern on the original phone call that we will contact you the day before your delivery. We need to get a hold of you because we're running over everything again. It's go time. You're fixing to go to war. Now you got to have the bullets in the gun. It's go time. So we'll contact you the day before and run over everything again with you. Make sure we're both on the same page to make your event as good as we can. And then Ms. Jones, last thing is, I'll call you when I'm 30 minutes out in the morning just to give you another heads up, and you can prep for us to be on the way. Again, please have that hose ready. If you're paying cash, have that ready for us when we show up. And know where the unit's going to go. You need to be within 50 foot of a power source. Please keep that in mind. It needs to be a somewhat level, grassy area. And then, of course, when you get there, pick the area that works best for your unit. But these are pretty basic things. Here's the issue. Most people don't want to do it anymore. That's way too much work. I would rather hope it's going to be okay, show up there, and pray that it all works out. And that is how you lose. You will get your butt burned doing that. I discourage the heck out of that. Communication. You can't do enough of it. It's what It's what's lacking in the business industry these days, and people see it everywhere, and it's because of Facebook, and they're booking on Facebook and this, that. No. I got a business to run, and you actually have to run it and not walk it. In order to do that, I am going to make sure my delivery is going to happen, that I've made the effort to communicate with my clients. They know what I expect when I get there. I'm going to give them a great unit, going to give them phenomenal service, and they will not say that this company did not communicate with them or do the right things. But again, if they're not willing to answer the phone and do that, then do they really want the bounce house? Or they decided last minute they didn't want to tell you, and they're canceling, and you show up, and then there's another company there, right? You found out that on Friday, the husband called and booked with one company, she called and booked with another company. Well, I would know that on Friday if I called the day before, rather than just show up, and get into a match with either the other company or with the client. It's all nonsense. So the bottom line is, inspect what you expect, do your discovery, make a phone call the day before, phone call when you're on your way. People should be answering, and I let them know, I'll be calling you tomorrow morning. I had to give them that hour-and-a-half window sometime within this. Please answer your phone so I make sure you're home and we can run through this smoothly. We'll get you set up, your party will be a hit, and everybody will be happy. I'm really doing all that for me. I'm not really doing it for them. I'm doing it to keep my flow going so my drivers know what they're up against. Actually, they make those calls if that's the case, and we move forward. So that is the discovery and communication process to delivery. It works. 20 years, I'm telling you, it absolutely works. I've had drivers that try to cheat that and not do it, and then they call me on Saturday when the customer aren't there. And I said, well, did you call them the day before? Did you get a hold of them? No, I didn't get a hold of them. Well, there was your sign, right? Well, maybe you got a bad phone number, right? Look them up on Facebook. Try and find them that way to get reach out to them. So when they call, make sure they're booking online. You've got an email, you've got a phone number, every possible way that you could get a hold of them. Because I can tell you, if they booked a month out and you can't get a hold of them at all, how do we know they're even going to be there when we show up? I just can't work that way. Again, everybody's different. If you guys are comfortable with it, it's working for you, stay the course for what you're doing. But I can tell you, this is an efficient process. When you get there, it's pretty quick. Most customers like it because they're not used to getting companies that are competent anymore, that will do these sorts of things to make sure that you have that communication with them. I know if I'm going to have an event, I want to know that my vendors are communicating with me and everything's going to go the process the way as the consumer, that communication is open with the companies that are going to do work for me. And also, this communication gets you on a personal level with them. So if you are running late and you had a nice conversation with them, you got to know them a little bit, you can get out of it a lot easier than if you just did the online game. Because you build a small rapport really quick when you talk to Miss Jones and you're asking questions. Miss Jones, you're running a 27-foot water slide. What age are the children? Oh, they're 4. Oh, Miss Jones, are you sure you want a 27-foot water slide? Because for 4-year-olds, you're spending way too much money, and that's way too large. How about a 16-foot double lane that they're going to have a lot more fun with and save you a ton of money, and it's going to work just fine. So it's the small things that build that rapport and build that communication. And I would use this strategy. If you haven't, give it a try, see if it works for you. And if you guys have any questions, again, we're always able to answer anything we can. Again, not always right, but try and help you guys out with what's worked with us. And again, it's and everybody's different, but you can try and put some of these into process. So 888-901-WAVE if you have any questions. We're happy to help in anything in the delivery process, again, whether you buy from us or not. We hope to hear from you guys soon. In the next stages, you'll see what I look for out of delivery, actually in a yard. How do I try and talk to the customer instead of putting it over there under the tree that's going to get all on my unit and stain it, or in that sand pit to the grass. Just small things to change their mind and kind of work them to work in our wheelhouse, not necessarily in theirs, and they just don't even know it, but they're working. We're doing what we want because of that beginning communication all the way through to make our jobs a lot easier. So hopefully you guys got something out of this, and we will be speaking to you guys soon and have some more episodes coming your way.